leather gloves, we're slapping in hands. Popcorn and peanuts, we're working the stands. Pink cotton candy, love on a stick. Who's chasing the beer? That circle the lips, play ball. Play ball. Load up the bases and smack it right over the wall. Play ball.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Laughter Saves Lives, live here at Strong Island Television, Paradise Studios in beautiful Massapequa, New York, right by the Chinese restaurant and the Italian restaurant. I am sitting in the studio alone, which I hate. I hate it. I can't wait till this is over. I'm just trying to be safe. Maybe I'm being too safe, but I miss having some friends here. Few things to talk about before I want to bring out my co-host. By the way, tonight's guest, we have Lonnie Sherman from General Needs, who does a lot for veterans who need general stuff, homeless and needy veterans. He's been on before. We love having him on. John Carboni, a new friend of mine from 2C's TV. We're going to talk about some of his project and a project we are working on together. And then we wrapped up the show with Long Island legend, Peter Bales. So that's our show tonight. Mandy Jones will be on in a second. So I just wanted to bring up two quick things, and maybe I'll talk to Mandy a little bit about the blood. They need blood, so donate blood. Listen, I have not done it myself yet. So I'm hoping to go out tomorrow or Friday when I'm on grandpa duty. Paul will watch the grandchild for a little while. They need blood desperately. So please, please, please donate blood and make a donation to the Bronx Fire. Go online, look up the reputable charities. It was a horrible, horrible incident. And I would like to do something for EMS who responded there. We don't do enough for EMS. So I'm going to bring in my co-host, because that's about all the alone time people want to see me on the screen. Mandy Jones. Mandy Jones is a Long Island comedian, performs all of the Northeast, hosts two live interactive podcasts, The Wildflowers on Wednesdays and Calamity Jones Hour on Fridays. Let's bring in Mandy Jones. Mandy, we will tell them at the end before you leave. Mandy Jones, the comedian. That is what? That is your...
That's my tag, like any platform, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. That's my stuff everywhere.
You fancy pants. You got it all going on.
Well, it wasn't taken when I started, and you end up having to join all these different platforms. So here we are, Mandy Jones, the comedian. If you search me on the internet, you'll find me there.
You may have to teach me a few things about that. So it's so nice having you. We've been circling for a while. I love the work you do. I peek in on everybody, see what's going on. So it's nice to have you here.
Yeah, I want to tell you, you brought Bonnie and I roses because it was right around Valentine's Day when we had you on our show back when we were at our former network, when we were at Gov Studios. And you brought us roses, and I dry flowers that I always dry bouquets of flowers and stuff. And that particular rose is in my meditation den in my house, which is like the church of our home. So that's very special to me. It just dried beautifully, and it's still there.
I usually dry up pretty good myself. So it's nice having you. Now, this part of the show, what I like to do is be a little silly and talk about some things that are really unimportant to the average person. But stuff that we may... get in our craw a little bit, and you're like kind of embarrassed to talk about because there's so many other things going on. So we're going to say, so I say, screw that. Let's bring them up. Maybe somebody. So the first thing is, now you are married, correct?
That's correct.
All right, good. I did my research. Thank God I was right. So you are married. I don't know. I'm sure he's a wonderful husband, but husbands are husbands. All right. Now tell me if you have this issue with your husband. I always forget what days the garbage go out. I've been in my house for over 20 years, Mandy.
And
what do you think about that?
Well, I actually have an exception to this because my little brother-in-law lives with me, and he is on garbage duty, and he always takes the garbage out.
Okay,
And if I'm home and like because he works nights and I'll beat him to it, like I will drag the garbage out.
right.
It's pretty rare for my husband, but he does know how to Google the town calendar to figure it out.
Yeah, she has the calendar on the refrigerator. You know how you get it in the mail? It's on the fridge, Mandy.
Yeah, but I got to throw that out because I got to look every time because you know what? The holidays, they change it. I just Google it every week, every time I forget.
That's true. I just want to give a shout out to Patrick McDonald. Thanks for tuning in all the time, Patrick. What days do your garbage go out?
All right, so Wednesdays it alternates where it's either bottles and cans or it's cardboard. And then Tuesday and Friday morning is just trash. And my town's real good. You could call them and be like, I got a refrigerator, and they'll come pick it up. So they're really good.
I do have a refrigerator. I'm going to bring it by your house and just give them a jingle. But your days are kind of a little different than mine. Can I get your brother-in-law maybe to scoot on over on the days that he's not taking yours out? Probably not. Probably not. Christmas lights.
Okay, so we didn't do outdoor lights this year. Last year, my husband did. Well, what he did was my mother-in-law sends me a wreath every year, so he hung the Christmas wreath. And last year he did the lights outside. We have 2 columns, in the front of our house. So the lights with the garland.
That was it. Just 2 columns.
And and like the W shape, and then we got, and then he had classy, and then I
don't know classy. Don't you know me? I don't know classy. I'm wearing a T-shirt for the 432 day in a row, Mandy. I am not classy. You're classy. You are classing up the show.
And as for and then for indoor lights, is that the next?
Let's stay with the outdoor. Let's stay with the outdoor for a second.
So that's it. Like, I'm a simple girl. That's all I want. My mom got me a light up angel. She needs some repair, so she didn't go out this year. Okay. Glenn's gonna doctor her up. She'll go out next year. She'll be part of the display. But I live next to like the fucking Griswolds. That's part of my French. Our town is like, it's insane. Like, I brought my in-laws around because they were visiting for Christmas, and there's people that you drive up to their house and it says tune in to 98.5, and they've got.
I have the same thing. I have a sign that says tune in, but it has nothing to do with anything. It's like a sports radio station. It has nothing to do with Christmas. But my thing this year, Mandy, was I wanted to be the last one in my neighborhood with Christmas lights.
Oh, are you kidding? They're not even starting. Steve across the street's not joking. It's not coming down. It's because it takes him weekends to break this stuff down.
Yeah.
Because it takes him weekends to set it up. These people cover their yard. I
understand. Yeah. God bless them. But yes. So let's get off lights because I have another important topic. But I just wanted to say we said hi to Patrick McDonald. His mom passed away this week.
So I'm sorry to hear that.
And also, I was out today. I went to my Aunt Terry's funeral. My favorite. Oh, I shouldn't say my favorite aunt. One of my favorite aunts.
I'm sorry.
My childhood memories, making Monica and holidays, and we had her funeral today. So it was a tough day. I dragged myself to get here. But yes.
I'm sorry to hear that, John. My thoughts for you and your family.
Just 2 quick things. Just a little note for Mandy. We can't curse. Just a little note because we are on Optimum channel 115.
Well, not anymore. Now that Mandy cursed, we're on channel 252.
Right. That's number 1.
Number time we're going to be on channel 800.
Number 2.
It's fine, Mandy.
Not that you've forgotten anything, John, but...
Oh, we are sponsored by Barish and Nagiri, lawyers for the 9/11 community. Thank you, Butch.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Butch just pops on there. Now, another important topic, Mandy. I have this thing going back and forth with my buddy John Santo. Oh, before I get to that, do you know? I'm very ADD. Do you know, Mandy, that there are places out there that have leagues for kickball and dodgeball?
I'm not surprised.
Are you athletic, Mandy?
I like to think of myself as athletic, yes.
So if Laughter Saves Lives forms a kickball team to be in this league, would we be able to ask Mandy to come down and play on the team?
If my husband was allowed to come, because he's the one that would probably be a better athlete.
Well, we need some females. So if we have to take the husband along with the Mandy, we may do that. If it's a package deal, we may have to do it.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm going. Send me the info and let me know about that.
All right, but I thought it was cool because one of my son's friends played. They have the cornhole and all that. But I said, kickball and dodgeball, that would be kind of fun. That would be kind of fun. All right, so the last thing that I want to talk to in our intro, and we may be bringing in a friend if he's on. Let's see if he's on to talk about this.
Who are you looking for?
I have a problem, a little twitchy, when we go out to eat, of ordering pasta, and this has been discussed too much ad nauseum on this show, that I have a problem with my family spending $17 on a pasta dish that probably cost $1.50 to make. I do it, I order it, we don't go out often, but it gets me like this, all right? A twitchy order. Today, I woke up out of a sound sleep and remembered about the wedge salad. Do you know this wedge salad, Mandy?
I'm not familiar. Enlighten me.
Really? All right. You know, what's the cheapest lettuce out there? The round one, the iceberg? What is that called?
Is that iceberg lettuce. Yeah, the garbage lettuce, iceberg.
So a freaking wedge salad is they cut the lettuce up into 4 sections. They take one of them, they put it on your plate, they put a little bacon and some dressing, and they friggin' shove that out there at about $10 or $11. That makes me twitchy.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even know what a wedge salad was, because that's not something I'm ordering out.
Yet, Mandy, very deliciously fresh, and it's a nice little dish if it wasn't so expensive. You know, my wife ordered it twice when we were way up in Lake George a few months ago. And I got twitchy. Here's Butch.
Santo's in, needs to go. Bring him on.
Santo, you got 2 minutes. We got the lovely Mandy here. The wedge salad. What is your opinion? This is why I brought you on tonight. That's it. I'm sorry. I know you have a lot to say. The wedge salad.
Very expensive. And ironically, they had iceberg lettuce on Titanic.
Iceberg.
But I'm bummed.
Very nice. Very nice.
As Tony Soprano would say, it's a freaking ripoff. They freaking cut the salad into 4 quarters and throw some bacon on it and dressing, and it's $11.
Thank you, Tony. What would Schwarzenegger say about that?
He would say, when you come to California, we have much better salads. We don't have the iceberg. We have the romaines, and we have the baby greens and all of those things like that. And we use only the best dressings.
All right. The next time you're on, it's my new twitchy thing. It is the avocado toast.
Oh, I don't like avocado. I don't know nothing about that.
But we have to save that for next time. So thank you for chiming in on the wedge lettuce salad.
That's it? I even shaved for this.
Well, that's all I got. I know you had to go somewhere. That was my excuse for cutting you off early.
Bye, Mandy. Bye, John. Thank you for having me.
John Santo, love him, love him, love him. He's one of my good friends. He's co-host the show a lot. Long Island's favorite impressionist. Jersey hates him. But Long Island Jersey doesn't hate him. Jersey loves him too. Butch, let's go to a commercial, and then we'll bring back our first guest with Mandy.
"9/11 didn't end on 9/11. 500,000 people were exposed to the World Trade Center toxins and are still at risk today. 68 cancers have been linked, including skin cancers, prostate cancer, breast cancer, blood cancers, and many respiratory illnesses. Fortunately, all victims qualify for free health care, and more than $10 billion is available from the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund.
I was a paralegal just 2 blocks from Ground Zero. I had skin cancer and lymphoma.
I worked at Goldman Sachs. I had kidney cancer and respiratory illnesses.
I was a downtown teacher. I had breast cancer. I qualify.
I qualify.
I qualify.
If you were downtown anytime on or after 9/11, call Barish and McGarry, the lawyers for the 9/11 community. Call today. No law firm has recovered more money with over $2 billion awarded to 9/11 victims. If you worked, lived, or went to school in the exposure zone on or after 9/11, call Barish and McGarry today.
My father worked downtown. He died of bladder cancer.
I ran from Gateway Plaza in a cloud of smoke as the towers fell.
My mother and I qualify.
I qualify.
Barish and McGarry's advocacy for 9/11 victims isn't just professional, it's personal. With offices just steps from Ground Zero, they witnessed the pain of the 9/11 attacks and lobbied Congress to pass and permanently extend the Victim Compensation Fund.
I was a downtown court officer. I had prostate cancer in 2007. I qualify.
We all qualify.
I have one more unimportant topic to talk to Mandy about after this. Here's the picture of the boys and gals from the FDNY Fight for Firefighters. We sent them some money last week to assist in helping building this ramp for this FDNY family with a sick child who is in a wheelchair. They built the ramp. Looks like they did the whole job. There was enough guys there. They kicked ass. And I can't say kicked. They kicked butt. And we were a small part of it. So I want to thank Fight for Firefighters for allowing Laughter Saves Lives to be part of this awesome day. Great job, guys. Great job. Fight for Firefighters. Mandy.
Yes. How are
I got
you?
one more totally unimportant topic to ask you about before we bring up first guest. Just give me a quick opinion. Thank you, Elizabeth, Mary. Who else we got watching? Elizabeth, Mary, and Mickey. All right. Bags. You're not old like me. You're hip. You're happening. I get excited about a good bag. A good bag. Stu Leonard's, 50 cents. A nice grocery bag they have.
Oh, a good tote. Have you seen the Uncle Giuseppe ones? They're the best. Yes.
You know, I'm not a big shopper yet in Uncle Giuseppe's until they agree for sponsorship. So no, I haven't seen.
I think it's 3 for $1. They're great.
Perfect.
I like. Yeah, my lunch every day.
Talking about old bags, let's bring out our first guest. No, I'm kidding, Lonnie. I'm kidding. Is Lonnie Sherman? Where is he? President of General Needs. Is Lonnie our first guest? All right,
Lonnie is not our first guest.
I have to read your emails.
It would be nice.
All right,
John Carboni is our first guest.
Sorry, John Carboni. 2 C's. Hello, John Carboni.
John, how are you? Hi, Mandy.
Good. 2 C's TV. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for doing our show tonight. I know you're a busy man with all your TV stuff and movie stuff.
I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm not usually on this side of the camera, so bear with me. Hopefully I won't take your show down.
Well, I would like to be on this side of the camera a little more in some of your productions. But tell us, Mr. Carboni, tell Mandy and I, what are some of the things that you've worked on the last few years? Because you've done some cool stuff.
Oh, boy. I've done a couple of films. We did, right in the middle of COVID, we did a film about one man's experience in Vietnam. And that's just going into distribution now. So hopefully in a couple of months, you'll be able to watch it on TV on Roku and Netflix.
Can you tell us a little, before you get on to the next project, can you tell us a little more? Because that sounds interesting.
So yeah, this is it's a one-man story. He wrote it as a stage play and performed it around the country as a stage play. And he volunteered. He was an attorney, went to Vietnam, and volunteered to become a field correspondent. Knew nothing about taking pictures, but didn't want to be sitting back doing documents, and wanted to see some action, and that was the best he could do, and in terms of getting out there on the front lines, and tells this poignant, non-blood and guts story, or his life story in Vietnam. A lot of it funny, a lot of it touching. It was pretty interesting, and for us, it was the first time we had done any work. Was it 2020? Productions had been shut down, and everything was COVID crazy, and we had to figure out how to shoot a film with isolation and masks and all that. And it was the first thing that we had done during that time. And it's a very touching story. It's filmed in one location, and it's not a documentary, and it's certainly not a typical war film. So it's called Vietnam Through My Lens, from a guy who's an actor. He became after he left Vietnam, became a corporate lawyer, then became an actor, and he's a SAG actor, so he's still in films and commercials. He's, I don't know, in his late 70s, I suppose.
Wow.
Fabulous guy, and can tell a story like, I don't know, like Mark Twain. I mean, really fabulous storyteller. So
Mandy, if you have something to ask John at any point, just jump in, because I have a tendency to talk too much.
Oh, okay, no problem.
You good?
Yeah, no, I was going to ask him what the name of the film was, and then he answered it for me.
So I would love to have that guy on the show. I mean, not that you're not an interesting guy, but he sounds interesting also.
He's better looking too, so I can get him for you.
All right. We'll talk. Any other projects? You mentioned some projects to me that I guess you didn't direct or produce, but that you worked on. No.
So yeah, I mean, I've been doing this. Look, I've been doing this since I'm 18 years old. So I've done a lot of things, a lot of commercials, directed, edited, shot them. This summer, I actually did something that was fun, because most of the things that I work on are stuff that I don't get to see much, and I don't really have a connection to. It's brand new or something. And I got to do a season of This Old House. So that was cool, because it was something, it's as old as I am. It's been on since the 70s, I think. And I got
it's been on that long?
Yeah, it's one of the old and like one of the soap operas, General Hospital.
General Hospital.
One of the like the longest running non-news shows on TV.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and they just got a Roku channel, so now they're playing, their first episodes that go back to
Bob you directed it or just shot it?
I directed. It's all unscripted, so we don't know what we're doing until we kind of know what's going to be built, and we figure it out. So I directed. I directed it. I ran the main camera, and then I produced and edited it as well. I mean, we had a crew, but it was a small crew. It was agile. Again, it was kind of COVID restrictions, and it wasn't until the second episode that I started to understand what the show was going to look like. It's very interesting.
What really sucked? It's been on since the 70s. You come in and the show folds the year after you come in. That would have really sucked.
Now they've got Roku money. They're not going anywhere.
All right. Now, we're trying to work on a project together. All right. Yep. Can you talk a little bit about what your idea was, where it originated?
So my current project, this is something that's been going on with the team. There's 4 partners in this, called Totality, and we are creating an OTT, a streaming network like Roku, like Netflix, that features Italian food, culture, travel. Really, there are a lot of channels that do some of this stuff, but no one really does it with an Italian theme, and that's what we're going to do. This, as I said, it's a project that's going on 25 years. A partner of mine had the vision. He and I met back in the 80s. We were both working for the New York Giants. He was a video director at the time when he left. This was his goal, was to create a cable network, and came pretty close to doing it. Had a commitment from Bear Stearns for $80 million to launch, And sometime between the contract and the check, Bear Stearns went out of business. The economy crashed, and pretty much since then, people are just cutting the cord and running away from cable. So the time we think is right. We are starting to create content. We're still working on some of our financing, but we're producing shows that appeal to people who enjoy Italian food, enjoy Italian culture, want to travel to Italy. And really, it's not just Italians and Italian Americans. It's a third or half of the country. Everybody eats Italian food. Everybody has had pasta or pizza, and certainly some everything else that we're known for. And
I thought you wanted me involved because of my talent, and you just said no, you're Italian. That's all you got going for you. That's why we want you involved.
So where you come in, which is something that we really need, is comedy, right? So there's a lot of great Italian comedians. I mean, look, here they are. And you and I started talking because I had this vision. This is a book, just happens to be sitting on my desk, How to Be an Italian. My grandfather had this. I was a little kid, and my grandfather had this book, and I didn't know what any of it meant. I was 6 or 7 years old, and I'd look, and there's this picture of an Italian baby chef with a mustache, and I just thought this was the greatest book, even though I didn't know what it was. And I said, you know what? I just love the title. I want to turn this into some video segments, and I got in touch with you, and you said, no, that's great, but it's not where we're at.
And this is how, Mandy, this is how stupid I am. A guy comes to me who wants to be involved, and he says, here's what we want you to do. And I go, no, let's not do that. And he could, and I'm surprised he didn't hang up the phone and go, next.
But you were right, though. You were right.
But what I interjected, Mandy, and I want to get your opinion on this, is I said it's been done. How to Be Italian. Pat Cooper, Maniscalco, everybody's talked about how to be Italian. Or how about we talk about the origins of Italian sayings and Italian customs, but make them up and make them funny. Like it never happened, but let's make them funny. And he wanted short skits, like 2-3 minutes, right, John?
Yeah.
So I figured get some of my Long Island comics involved, and let's do this. So that's what we're going to work on.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, so many people love the Maniscalco stuff because they relate to it. So, just to be silly with the history of it. I mean, because you could look into some of the real reasons behind the superstitions and the traditions, and some of those you don't even need to make up. They're ridiculous in themselves. And that's about any culture. I'm not saying that's just an Italian thing. The head of the matriarch of the family, she can't have her purse on the floor, and there's all different rules. I think you could definitely have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have some fun with that, and maybe work on a documentary for Laughter Saves Lives, which would be fun.
Yep.
So we're excited about that. Any projects that you are working on, any other stuff that you want to tell us about, and where to find you and all that good stuff?
We would love to get people to follow us. We are only putting our content up now on Facebook. It's Itality Network on Facebook. We do a couple of videos a week, sometimes 5 a week. And that's really, other than keeping the lights on and paying the bills with, my regular clients, advertising and that kind of stuff. That's where all the energy is going, is producing. We're working on a lot of stuff for Valentine's Day. We're figuring, maybe this year people will want to stay home, and we're, things like how to make ravioli at home, couples cooking together, and cocktails, and so we have a lot of interesting stuff that we're working on that'll be on. All of it's going to be on our Facebook page, so we'd love people to follow us there. And once we're streaming, that'll be announced there as well, and hopefully we'll have an audience.
And what's the Facebook page again?
It's Itality Network on Facebook.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on tonight, my friend.
Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
I look forward to working with you.
Me too.
All right. Thanks, John. Be well.
See ya.
2C's TV, John Carboni. It's going to be fun. We shot one thing with Teresa. We shot a skit about why the old Italians had plastic on the furniture.
Okay.
You know how old Italians used to put plastic, and it's a running joke. Everybody does a joke on it.
Right.
And I just showed, me eating pasta on the couch and Teresa coming in and yelling at me that I'm slurping the pasta. It's going all over the place. And we're yelling back and forth. And I said, you know what? And I take a plastic bag and I sit on it. And we both look at each other and she says, no, that's not good enough. You know what we should do? And then we just both looked at each other like, I got an idea. And it was the end.
Oh, I love it.
You know, and it was cute and he loved it and he wanted to use it. We were just showing him an idea, you know.
Right.
So we're excited about it. Let's go to a commercial and we'll be back with Mandy Jones.
Hi, I'm Gretchen Rossi.
And I'm Arthur Lee, the creator of LifeVac.
We're here today to announce that to date, LifeVac has saved hundreds of lives of people who almost died due to choking.
People may not realize that on average, 14 people a day die from choking-related incidents. Every 5 days, one of those lives is a child. That's why I created LifeVac.
And as a new mom, and from housewife to housewife, I felt compelled to share with you the discovery of this life-saving device.
LifeVac is a simple-to-use airway clearance device. Just place, push, and pull to save a life.
And it costs less than it would take to fill up your car with a tank of gas. Imagine being able to save a life for less than $70.
To learn more, please visit lifevac.net.
That's LIFEVAC.net.
Please don't allow one of your loved ones to become the victim of a choking accident.
And we're back. Just talking to Pat DeBeers. He's going to be on a June 17th show with me up in Binghamton for the Firefighter Cancer Foundation. And he lives up in that area. So Cheapo LaRocchia trying to save a buck is bringing in one of the local comics. And I think Patty Marone is coming with me. Patty does not know that I'm saving money. It's one bed and one room. I think I'll let Mandy break that to him. If you don't mind calling Pat and saying John's cheaping out again.
I have no problem. We're very close. He performed at my wedding.
Did he? Was that you? I remember he said he performed at a wedding.
It was, I went to a comedy show that I was performing in right after I eloped with my husband and performed in a wedding dress, and everyone thought it was a gimmick. And then I said, no, I really just got married. So it was a lot of fun, but Pat was one of the...
He's a good man. I just got off the phone with him before the show. He's a good man.
Best.
So let's bring on our next guest from General Needs, president of General Needs, Lonnie Sherman. There he is.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Look how handsome you look tonight, my friend.
What's up, Johnny boy? How are you today, sir?
Did you fluff yourself up for me?
No, my wife made me cut my hair down.
How is your wife?
Everybody's great. We are new grandparents, and we're excited about that. We're going to go see the baby this weekend.
I can tell by the smile. I have that smile every day. Grandkids
you do a great
are awesome.
job at that. You do a great
Lonnie,
job
this
at that.
is Mandy Jones co-hosting with me today.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mandy, Lonnie is a saint. He doesn't look like a saint.
No.
He is a saint. They run the organization called General Needs, where they assist homeless and needy veterans and give them general stuff, basic stuff that they need. And Lonnie has got me involved a little bit. I want to get involved more. I couldn't make the last event. So Lonnie's going to tell us about a few events coming up. If Mandy wants to join us at one of these events, she's more than welcome. So tell us, Lonnie, what you got going on.
Well, first of all, we protect our heroes, these men and women that serve the country. And I would like to say, John, to you and every other fireman, especially the past week, what's happened, you are a hero. And these brave men and women that went in to help these families and do what they did just recently in the Bronx, they're, don't need to say any more. You guys are tremendous. So I see the, I guess we have a little camaraderie. Veterans who served the country, the Marines, the Army, the Navy, Air Force, and firefighters. There's kind of a little bit in common over there. So
much respect. Much respect.
Yes. We've completed some great projects. 2021 was an amazing year. One of the things I wanted to finish the year off with was Sometime in the summer, I talked about 1342. And the reason I talked about the number 1342 is 22 veterans a day will commit suicide. I don't want to be a bummer today on this comedy show, but 22 veterans a day will commit suicide. In November and December, 1,342 veterans committed suicide in this country. And what General Needs did is we brought boots to veterans from Maine to Washington, D.C. Actually, we beat the number by 10. We handed out 1,352 pair of boots.
Wow, great.
That is
Great
the
job.
most we've ever done. And you've been with us. Remember carrying them in? We brought like 200 plus pair of boots into a place in Queens. We made 2 trips back there. They're back in their real location. They're back in the Borden Avenue shelter. So they're no longer in a hotel, which is a good thing. And we brought, hundreds of boots over there again. But it was a very humbling experience. I mean, we drove up to Maine. We did New Hampshire. We did Vermont, which we found an amazing sainted woman who takes care of about 50 vets, 20 in one house. She has about 18 in another house that she takes care of. And then there's 8 or 10 guys living in the woods in Vermont. We were there November 1. It was already 30 degrees or below over in the.
What do you mean by living in the woods? They're living.
They won't come
actually
into a
the
shelter.
woods?
These men still live in the woods. They won't come in. They'll set up encampments in the woods in Vermont. So we brought some boots up there a couple months ago, over November 1. And I was so touched by that organization, we mailed up some coats. And we mailed up coats to everybody there. And the night I mailed up coats, they got 8 to 10 inches of snow. And we got some comments back from the men and women that were there that they were really thrilled we got those coats. So John, as you know, and everybody here, as you know, we do something really, really neat. What we do is brand new. It's about the dignity of these men and women getting the boots that they deserve. They're brand new boots. It's about the brand new coat. We never run a coat drive. We're collecting somebody's coat. That, even though they might be great coats, but it's that feeling that you got. And I think about me being a kid when you got something really hand-me-down. We do duffels by the ton of going out with underwear, socks, and T-shirts. Duffels that we do regularly that you've seen that will going out in about a week. We continue to do projects. COVID's really, it's hurt the fundraising part of what we do because we haven't had the fun part, like live audiences that I'm sure you guys love to have when you're doing Laughter Saves Lives events. But we have not dropped a beat as far as helping the veterans out.
Great.
We've done more than we've ever done. We've been on more locations. We've had face-to-face conversations, even though they might be outside of the shelter, in front of the building with more veterans than we've ever had. And when we did the 1342 project, I did a little, intro to the project, every shelter we went to. And I said, well, the reason we're doing 1342 is 22. And the vets looked at me straight in the eye. And this happened over and over and over again, that these men and women came up to me, and mostly men at this point, and they said, my dog's got to go out. No, they didn't say that. That's he's barking at me. What they did say to lighten up this moment is they said, we tried and we failed. We tried several times and we failed. And my answer to these men, which was just mind-boggling that they can even say that, was, I'm really glad you suck at something. I'm really glad you suck at what you tried to do, because otherwise we wouldn't be talking.
When is when is your next one?
We're doing some duffels in a week.
Do you
and
need
we're coming up
anybody?
Excuse me?
You need any help?
You want to drop off some dinners at Northport with me? We're going to pick up 35 dinners from Miko, the Japanese restaurant in East Northport, plug. And we're going to bring some dinners and a duffel bag over to Northport, VA. They won't let us go in, but
I know.
Maybe you can take a ride with me over to shelter and plan on hopefully when the summer comes along, maybe we can do a little comedy show right outside the shelter.
Mandy would love to be on that show, I bet.
Yes.
These men and women.
We have it on. We have it on record now, Mandy. So you got to come.
I will be there.
These men and women have been really, really terrific.
Wait, Lonnie, go back to the duffels in Japanese. So, do you need money to pay for those dinners, or are they donated?
We need money to do everything. Yes, if we want to go to Miko.
So, you want me to bring a check with me? Is what you're saying?
You can bring a check with you, sure.
Remember the one time I went and you had that box that you had to put your credit card in, and it would take 25, and you kept telling me to test my card in there.
Try it
again, John. Another $25. You're a good salesman, Lonnie.
Hey, you know what? Early on, and we joke around in it is, I was the one when I created this program. I said I'm going to hold out the cup. I'm going to hold the cup out for the vets, so a homeless vet never has to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep asking.
You're doing
And
good
you
work.
guys have been the best. And what
You're
we
doing
can
good.
do is our organization is General Needs. It's generalneeds.org, which is our website. Many organizations, fire departments and police departments and PSC&G and National Grid and Home Depot. Some great organizations have been really extremely supportive of us to get us through this COVID period of
All
time.
right, listen, I just hooked up with a VFW that is very excited about working with us, advertising our shows, hosting some shows. And I told them about your organization. So we're going to do a veteran show. We're going to do an animal rescue show, a veteran show. I'm going to ask Mandy to be on the show because she's here right now. That's what Rich Walker always does when he's here. He always says, well, I guess I'll be on that show. So he's not here. Mandy's here. Mandy's going to be on the show. So it's in April. I don't know the date. You don't have to do anything if you don't want. You could come and laugh.
There, I'll do
If
whatever you
do it
need.
on your website, great. We're going to bring in we're going to do everything, Lonnie.
Yeah.
All right. Just bring you and your wife and sit and laugh. All right. And it'll be a great night. One more time. What is the date for the duffel bag in the Japanese restaurant?
I believe we're going to do that next Friday, which is the what are we talking? The 21st. I'll call you during the week. We'll hook it up. We'll do the timing.
I know you'll call me. You won't forget because you won't let me. I know you. Hey, John, remember Friday? Oh, yeah, Lonnie. Get your
Yeah,
ass
you always
over
say, "When I got to do something, I'm busy. I'm going to Buffalo." You know?
Yes, Butch.
I just wanted to invite Lonnie to stay on until the end of the show to enjoy our next guest, who is ready whenever you are.
You know, I'm happy you have
can we
some
do a
great
quick
people on, 'cause
commercial?
I always suck on
And Mandy,
bringing
you
them
have
up.
anything else to add?
No, we're not stepping away. We're going right to Peter.
We have to pay the bills.
We'll go right to Peter.
They always
Don't
say
worry.
that on the Tonight Show. We got to pay the bills. Mandy,
We'll pay
anything
the
for
bills.
Lonnie, Mandy?
Just real quick, is there like a website or a way to donate to you virtually?
Sure, very easily. Generalneeds.org. Here's my shirt. There's the General Needs.
Generalneeds.org. Okay.
Generalneeds.org. We're a 501c3, totally approved by Suffolk County and
Talking to me.
major. We've gone through all the hoops that we do the right thing. We're a totally volunteer veteran organization. Nobody gets paid. Kind of like everything else.
All right, Lonnie. We will
Thanks,
see
guys.
you next week. Thanks for coming in. General Needs, people. Lonnie
We'll take
Sherman.
it right up to the VA together. Great, awesome.
All right, brother. Be well. Lonnie Sherman, General Needs. And we are not going to break. We are going to bring our funny comic guy in. One of a Long Island legend, Peter Bales.
Here I am. All
There
right,
he is.
great to be here.
You
Hello
have been
there.
a Long Island comic, right? You go back to the 20s. Am I right, Peter?
I go back almost to the 20s. Actually, the first time I ever did a show, the group opening for me did Gregorian chants. That's how long ago that was. To tell you the truth, I started probably in 1979.
79.
79.
Wow.
And I am a Long Island comic, although I started at the infamous comic strip in Manhattan.
Which is still there.
Which is still there. Still there. We have lost, sadly, Dangerfield.
Yes.
To the pandemic. But yes, the comic strip is still going and still going strong. And it's so great to be on this show. I want to say with Rich Walker, I should be on that show. You know, I see you doing bookings live on the air. I think that's terrific.
It's a lot. We do live bookings here. Live
do?
bookings. If you're on the screen, you must be on the show.
All right.
Well, you're on the screen, Peter.
I'm on the screen. I'd love to do it. I mean, you do so much for good causes, John.
I do a little bit, but I know you're a historian. You are a history teacher. Can I say history?
History.
Before we get into, we don't have that much time. I know I want you to do shtick, but I know you would love this. At the eulogy at my aunt's funeral today, my cousin brought up that her mother, my aunt, remembers my grandfather crying. He came over from Italy when the United States went into Italy during World War II, right?
Yes, yes,
Now,
indeed.
I stepped back and I'm like, oh my God, that must have been horrible for him. His whole family's over in Italy, came over to the United States, and now they're attacking Italy. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, oh my God, that must have been horrible.
Well, I got to tell you, many Italian Americans patriotically served their country in World War II. And there's the famous story of Lucky Luciano being in prison and putting out the word that Italians, first in Sicily and then on the peninsula, could be supportive of the Allied troops who are invading first Sicily and then fighting up the peninsula. It was the Southern Front.
I mean, you are such an interesting guy with your history. And when you went into the veterans that time, and you were supposed to do comedy, you ended up talking about the presidents, every president of the United States.
I remember that. I remember that.
They loved it. So what else do you got for us? We're supposed to get some.
First of all, you really hit a nerve with me. Yeah. I go out, I get pasta at Italian restaurants. It costs them $1.50 to make the meal, and it makes me crazy. I love it. You really hit a nerve when you expressed that earlier on the show, John.
I
don't know how to deal with that.
Cheap.
Listen, I want to plug a couple of things here. I've got a new podcast coming out with Long Island comedian Jackie the Joke Man Martling. And we've got a terrific new name. I don't know where we got it from. It's called Jackie and Peter Save Lives. We think that is a name that can work. I don't know how we got that name, but I'm joking. It's not called Jackie Save Lives. It's called exactly what the show is. It's called Stand Up Memories. We've got a couple of old hippies, Long Island comics talking about our memories, and our memories go way back to the late 70s.
Can you give us a funny memory? Can you give us a funny memory? What are your stories?
Well, I always talk to people about the first time they were ever on stage.
Right.
Remember, your first set. Every comedian remembers the first time. I imagine your first time on stage, John, it was probably when a whole bunch of firefighters said, "Stop with the jokes. We got to put out with this fire."
No, you know where it was? I was taking a class in the city. Final was at Dangerfields. You know, the final show like you guys do, right? At Dangerfields. And I said, I'm going to get up before then. And I brought my notes and I went to Chuckles, open mic.
Chuckles, famous club in Mineola, Long Island.
Chuckles, open mic. And I started reading my jokes and I was bombing a miserable death. And then in the middle of my set, if you remember, there was a firehouse 1 block away. And the alarm went off. And I said, I'd love to finish, but guys, I got to go. And I got my first laugh ever on stage. And that was my first laugh.
That is a great story. I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Mandy, what was your first time on stage?
I had went to Shaker's pub in Oakdale, which Evan Weiss runs or was running at the time. And everyone was real nice to me. And I actually had written jokes for 3 months before that, before I ever went to my first open mic. And I had practiced like in the mirror and I practiced really hard. So about 10 minutes or 7 minutes of material, I think I was done in 4.5 because I was so nervous.
Yeah. You were okay afterwards because a lot of people are traumatized. That's the hardest thing to do your first time doing stand-up.
No, they were very kind to me. Everyone applauded that. It was my first time. And actually, I've seen that. I don't know if that's just a Long Island thing, but if you're at an open mic and it's someone's first time, the host reiterates this is their first time, and usually the room applauds for you.
Well, that's what I
try that in every next show. I'm going to try that.
Oh, I got to plug now. My comedy school, Stand Up University. Go to standupuniversity.com. It's where people go who want to start out in stand-up comedy. Everybody wants to do stand-up comedy, and they think, how do I do it? What do I do? Well, taking a class that's going to give you the basics and then a positive place to do your first show is the best way to do it. They didn't have that when I started out. My first comedy show ever was before a bunch of drunken frat guys in college. I barely got away with my life. Stand Up University is where we teach the basics and help people to get their first 5 or 6 minutes together. And we do it on Tuesday nights. It's on Long Island at the Brokerage Comedy Club in Belmore, and it's
a lot of fun.
The first thing is it's fun. The main thing is it's fun.
If you don't, and that's if you don't want to be a stand-up and you want to be a better speaker at an event and get some yucks, I mean, Peter and I both teach. The one thing I got going for me when I get in front of a class is I can keep their interest because I make them laugh.
Yes,
you know?
John is the only person in the United States who can make jokes about how you dispose hazardous materials. He's a genius. Who else can talk about deadly?
So what else you got? What other funny you got for us tonight?
Well, I have lots of funny. It's so terrific to be here. I am excited for my podcast, Stand Up Memories. We all have these tremendous memories. And comics will talk about how tough they've had it, John. How tough. We've all had tough shows. Mandy, we've had tough shows. Oh, I performed for 2 people. Oh, I performed for 4 people. Oh, it was so tough. I want to say to you, I performed to nobody. And here's my true story. The comic strip, they used to stay open. They're developing comedians. It's 1979, and I'm on stage, 2 o'clock in the morning. The lights are in my eyes. I'm not very good. I'm not getting any laughs. And I didn't know it because I couldn't see with the lights in my eyes. But the last 4 people in the audience got up and left the room. I was performing to an empty room. I kept going. There's no waitress in there. There's nobody in there. I kept going. I wasn't getting any laughs, but I didn't get laughs in those days. I kept going, performing to nobody. And as you might remember, there's a window looking into the comic strip. You could see it from the bar area. Jerry Seinfeld was hanging out in the bar area. He looks in. He sees I'm up there performing to nobody. And I will never, ever forget this. He walked into the room, walked down the aisle to the side of the stage, and he looks up at me. And I'm performing, but I stopped because I saw him standing there staring at me. And this is what Seinfeld said. Hey, man, there's nobody here. And I just went, oh, okay, all right. I walked off. Talk about pathetic.
Hey, I have one of the funniest stories that I would tell if I got on a famous talk show. It was about you and your comedy student that I've told you this story, I think, before, but I think the other guys would like to hear it.
Do it.
Peter teaches at comedy school, and one of his students, I put them on the show with Peter. I don't remember who was emceeing and how it worked out, but this girl got on the stage, very nervous. Peter's there watching her. That's her mentor. You know, one of her first paid gigs. She's on the stage. 30 seconds in, she gets a laugh, and I looked at Peter and I go, "Oh, it's going to be good." That kind of laugh, and then she went downhill, fast and bad and miserable and horrible. She was just horrible. Then she got her shoe caught in the stage. It was horrible. And at the same point, they bring out the cake, the dessert. Now she has to have a long walk towards Peter, and I'm standing next to Peter, and I'm like, what is Peter going to say to this poor girl? Because she's looking to him for something, and she's walking closer and closer, and I think I'm sweating. I don't know about Peter. And she looks at him, and he pauses, and she says to her, "Have a piece of cake." And that's all he said. That's all he said. And it's one of my favorite comedy stories. I just loved it. Love it.
Well, you know, there's a tradition of comedians after shows going out to the diner. And what do we talk about? We don't talk about the great shows because, let's be real, in stand-up comedy, 90+% of the time, 98% of the time, it goes great. What you remember are the shows when something went wrong.
Yep.
When there was a fight, when the electricity went out, when something crazy happened, which is extremely rare, but that's why you talk about it.
Yep.
Okay. And one of the things actually that we teach at Stand Up University is how to bomb, how to deal with difficult situations. Okay. Just about all I mean, come on, every night it goes great. I see Lonnie there. No, these bad things are not going to happen. They're rare. That's why we talk about them. The truth is, that stand-up comedy, and John is an example of this, is a great way to just get people together for fellowship and raise money for good causes. And it goes right. It goes right night after night.
We have to wrap it up. We have to wrap it up. Thank you always for coming down and doing the show when we ask you, even last minute. I really appreciate it. Mandy, I'm sorry I talk so much. I always have to apologize afterwards. But,
Thank you for having me.
I loved having you. John, thanks. And we look forward to working with you. Lonnie, we look forward to coming down and helping you and carrying some boxes. You busted my ass again and making me work.
Hey,
Generally,
it's been an honor.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Be safe. Wear your mask. Do what you got to do to be safe. Good night, everybody.
It's been an honor. And we will call.
Old leather gloves, we're slapping in hands. Popcorn and peanuts, we're working the stands. Pink cotton candy, love on a stick. Who's chasing the beer that circle the lips? Play ball, play ball. Roll up the bases and smack it right over the wall. Play ball.